There are many interesting, beautiful, and downright weird things on our planet. And sometimes, things are found that blow minds, and at times, defy explanation. Here, we'll take a look at some seriously crazy things that people have spotted using technology not readily available just a few decades ago. We're going to take a look at strange sights on Google Earth, Part 2. 14. Island Inception. The island of Luzon is found in the Philippines, and there's something truly interesting about it. It has its own lake, called Lake Taal, which has an island of its own in it, called Volcano Island. Volcano Island also has a little lake on it, made inside of a crater, and said lake has a small island of its own as well. For years and years, this was thought to be the largest strange island inside of a lake, on an island inside of a lake, on an island. Well, northern Canada actually holds a little piece of land measuring 4 acres. That takes the title. But that's okay, because that doesn't make this setup any less interesting. Who knew there could be so much island inception in one place? And this isn't the only spot on our planet that this has happened. Crazy. 13. Wheels in Jordan. These strange works of art, or whatever they are, were found in Jordan's Azraq Oasis, and everything points to them being at least 8,500 years old. This makes them even more ancient than the famous Nazca lines in Peru, and some of the earliest works of art scratched into the surface of our planet. The wheels seem to align with something very specific, the sunrise on the winter solstice. Wheel structures like these have been extensively studied, and they often vary in their designs. Some, like the ones found in Jordan, seem to show a bunch of spokes radiating from the center, whereas others everywhere only have 2 bars instead of spokes and aren't entirely circular, but are formed like other shapes. The exact reason for the wheels is still not fully known, and we will probably never know precisely why they were left behind. 12. Eye of the Middle East. Now, this is a strange setup. Check out this wheel-like artwork or monument, or whatever it's supposed to be, that's found in the Middle East. It looks like an eye or a bullseye, and if that's not strange enough, look at the triangles that point at the bullseye. There are 3 of them, and they all seem to be pointing directly at the central structure, and to make matters weirder, there are lines or parallel lines made of rock stacks that connect the triangles and the bullseye. It's not known why this structure was built, but it sure is strange and makes you wonder just what else is out there, just waiting to be found. 11. Missing Pyramid? Back in 2012, a woman who thinks of herself as a satellite archaeology researcher found what she believed to be an unexcavated pyramid in Egypt and made her rounds on social media. However, various experts think her pyramid, in the upper left-hand corner of this picture, is just an eroded hill and that she, for the most part, doesn't know what she's talking about. The thing is, it does look a bit strange and angular, almost like more than a mere hill just starting out in the middle of nowhere. In the end, it did turn out that it was just a butte sitting out there, and not a pyramid at all. Too bad. It was really convincing, and nobody would have been surprised if it did turn out to be an ancient structure. 10. Imaginary Island. For more than 100 years, there was an island that was included on maps, and even made its way onto Google Earth. The thing is, this island doesn't exist, and it's unclear why many believed it to actually be there. The island was said to be near New Caledonia, and in 2012, some Australian researchers found it on Google Earth, and it looked like a strange black polygon rather than an actual island. Turns out, when scientists headed out to see it in November 2012, there was nothing there besides open water. A possible pumice raft and human errors were blamed for the identification of the fictional island in an obituary written for the landmass by the researchers in 2013. 9. Gigantic Pentagram. When we think of pentagrams, we tend to think of things like devil worship and the occult, which is why it's strange that a huge one was found on Google Earth just a few years back. But is it really strange? Does it have anything to do with the occult, or with a sign of recognition, as the ancient Greeks believed? Turns out, not really, no. In fact, this pentagram in Kazakhstan is just an old park that has been abandoned and is unused. It was created back in the time of the Soviet Union, and the Soviets used to use the pentagram as a symbol for decoration. The lines are roads that are lined with trees that have grown up and more visible over the years. At least that's the official story. Do you believe it? 8. Spooky Spiral. This may remind you of a crop circle, and if we didn't know what was behind it, we might be a little worried about this one. It looks like something alien or like some portal to another world, but it's an art installation that was created by 3 people back in 2007. It's located in a remote area in Egypt and is named, well, Desert Breath. The creators say on their website that the piece represents and celebrates the desert as a state of mind, a landscape of the mind. The installation covers 1 million square feet, which is pretty unbelievable. We wonder how long this sucker took. 7. Hole-filled Syria. Have you ever looked at the moon and marveled at its pockmarked surface and considered how strange it would be were the Earth that spotted with holes? Well, there's one place where it is, and Syria is where you'll find it. The civil war in the country has ravaged the country for some time, and it has put a lot of archaeological sites in danger, and it's caused damage to every single UNESCO World Heritage Site in the country. This really is a problem, as the area is one of the oldest occupied places on our planet, and even satellites can pick up on some of the destruction and devastation. One area in particular, in Apamea, shows tons of tiny holes which are actual holes dug by looters since the beginning of the Civil War. It's completely covered in the crater-looking features, and it's fantastic to think that those were all dug by hand, and that is what you see here. 6. Blood Lake. Now, this can't be an entire lake tainted and colored by blood, can it? The thing is, nobody knows for sure exactly why the lake is this color. Thus, macabre rumors have been allowed to grow and spread like wildfire. One rumor is that the slaughterhouses in the area dump blood into the canals at times, which sounds a bit crazy to us. But with no explanation, nobody can really know for sure. More than likely, the red color is caused by some water treatment process, sewage, or pollution, and not by blood. You do never know though, and you'd think by now we'd have some more answers than we do. You be the judge on this one. 5. Ant Throne. A volcano known as Vulcan's Throne, which is found on the Grand Canyon's north rim, has a rather strange polka dot pattern on it, and the reason for this pattern is one you may or may not believe. Ants. Seriously, the area is home to red harvester ants, and those guys can build some pretty impressive homes. Their mounds can measure an amazing 47 inches across, and they're typically surrounded by bare ground, up to around 108 feet. Amelia Carolina Sparavigna, a physicist and specialist in satellite imagery and image processing, believes that the large mounds created by the ants are what's responsible for the spots and dots seen from satellites. On-the-ground confirmation is needed, but it sounds like a pretty solid theory to us. 4. Big Old Name. A member of the ruling family of Abu Dhabi and a billionaire sheikh, Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan, seems pretty full of himself. He had his name carved into the sands on an island he owns, or at least part of his name. A giant hamand could be seen on Google Earth, on the Persian island, and it's no wonder, considering the letters are half a mile tall and his whole name is 2 miles long. Well, they used to be. He relatively recently had the name removed, probably out of embarrassment, because who does that? The letters were so big that they didn't just wash away, as most writing in sand usually does. In fact, they'd catch the tide and form waterways when conditions were right, and as far as we know, this was the largest name ever written in sand. 3. Encircled diamonds. Here are some strange symbols for you, and the rumor and conspiracy theory around these symbols are almost just as odd as the works of art themselves. They can be found carved into the floor of the desert, near Mesa Huera Bonita, New Mexico, and an author named John Sweeney has an interesting take on them. According to his claims, the symbols were put there to mark a secret, hidden bunker, which belongs to the Church of Scientology. He says that they are there to help guide these Scientologists who return to Earth after fleeing a planetary Armageddon. Sounds like a pretty crazy story to us, and who knows, it could be entirely true. We may never know, so for now, we can just look at them and wonder. 2. UFO in Australia. At least that's what some people believe this to be initially. But what is it really? Why would there be a strange, triangular-shaped patch of land that's dotted with white lights in the middle of nowhere? Ufologists quickly jumped on the UFO idea when it was first spotted back in 2007, saying it was a UFO caught hovering not far off the face of the Earth. Other users of Google Earth think that it's an antenna that's part of a remote-controlled wind farm not far away. They believe there were 3 wires which form the triangle and a tower sitting in the middle. We think we like the UFO idea more, so we're just gonna roll with that one. We've seen some crazy landmarks on Google Earth so far, and we still have one more to go. But first, we'd like to ask you, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen on our planet? If you use Google Earth, what's the strangest thing you've ever found? Let us know in the comments below. 1. Luscious lips. Now, this one is just comical. It's pretty funny that land can naturally form something so human. But it did. And here is the world's biggest pair of lips. They're found in Garb, Darfur, over in Sudan, in the middle of nowhere. We wonder if anyone noticed anything strange about the area prior to the invention of Google Earth, or if these lips just sat unnoticed for thousands of years. Pretty realistic stuff. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to do us a favor and leave a like. Subscribe to our channel below, or by clicking on our logo right here, so that you never miss out on any of our excellent uploads. And be sure to check out this next great video that we know you're going to love.